Hello everyone, my name is Renato Fajdiga and today I will show you how you can create a Power App with Dynamics 365 Business Central data. So let's start with small introduction. As I said, my name is Renato Fajdiga. I am a solution architect at company Direction, and I'm also product manager at company Axelis, where I work as a product manager and also a solution architect. I am also a Microsoft Business Application MVP, and as well I am a Microsoft certified trainer. Regarding our agenda today, we will speak about what is the integrated Business Central, how we will integrate and how we can, and what are the possibilities of integration of Business Central with Power Platform, and today we will take a deep look in Power Apps. Part of that we will check what is the Power App and understand why we need Power Apps, what are the possibilities of the Power Apps, and then we will start digging into Business Central integration with Power Apps, so with Business Central connectors. And after that we will also include the CDS, Common Data Service, to build, for example, model-driven applications and so on. So when speaking about Business Central, we all know that Business Central is the ERP for small and medium enterprises, and it is a successor of well-known Dynamics Navision or Dynamics NAV. Inside the Business Central we have a lot of modules such as sales and service, procurement, inventory, financial management, operations management, and we also can do reporting and analysis inside the Dynamics 365 Business Central. Business Central is also modern, unified, intelligent and adaptable solution from Microsoft, which will enable you to easily extend your Business Central. So with developer skills, you can easily extend Dynamics 365 Business Central. Business Central is modern, unified across all Dynamics 365 applications. When this is not enough, we have a Power Platform, which we can connect to our Business Central or embed them inside the Business Central. So for example, we have the Power BI, where we can build powerful and intelligent Power BI reports on top of Dynamics 365 Business Central data. Then later, when we build the reports, we can publish these reports into Power BI service and embed these reports inside Dynamics 365 Business Central and easily use Power BI reports inside the Business Central solution. Second, Power Automate. In past we had approvals in Dynamics NAV, then we had workflows, and now we have Power Automate tool, with which you can easily automate your approvals and data processes inside Dynamics 365 Business Central. Power Automate is also integrated inside the Business Central, so you can create flows inside the Power Automate easily from the Business Central. And last but not least, because it is today's session about it, it's Power Apps, which we can integrate with the Business Central using standard connectors, create applications for creating records or manipulating with data inside the Dynamics 365 Business Central. Also, you can embed Power Apps inside the Business Central with some code, and that's it. So let's see what are the possibilities of Power Apps or possibilities of Common Data Service. With Power Apps, we are able to create powerful applications with, let's say, low code or no code. Today we will see that I will create an application inside Dynamics inside the Power Apps with Dynamics 365 Business Central data with just using the template from the Power Apps. We have three models of applications. First is Canvas, second one is model driven, and the third one is the portals. And this we will take deep inside each of these in several minutes. And for example, when you want to extract your data from the Business Central and then combine this data with other sources such as Dynamics 365 customer engagement or sales, or with I don't know, your Excel sheets, you can use Common Data Service and Common Data Model, which can be single source of data for your applications. So for example, I will publish my data to Common Data Model database using Common Data Service. Then I will have this data inside the Common Data Model. Here I can also join the other applications data and build applications on top of this Common Data Model, so Power App applications. So Common Data Service can be some data service and application platform, which will unify all your data across all business processes and much more. So let's talk about Power Apps. Regardless of type of developer you are, using low-code tools or writing JavaScripts, the goal of Power Apps is to make you as productive as possible. What is great is that you will never hit limits with Power Apps. That is because Power Apps has great connectivity into Azure. So for example, for computing or API services like Azure Functions, API Management, or Azure Kubernetes services. You can also use cognitive services from the Azure services. So there is a lot of tools which you can embed into your Power Apps and use it with the Power Apps. You can also then connect to all Azure data services like Azure SQL, Cosmos DB, or SQL Data Warehouse. On top of that, all the standard dev tools will work. So you can use Visual Studio to write plugins. You can use Visual Studio Code to write custom controls, as well as Azure DevOps to deploy and manage your applications and flows across the environment. As a quick refresher, Power Apps is all about providing a low-code way to rapidly build applications for mobile and the web. It's very easy to connect to your existing data with over 250 pre-built connectors, and as well as the built-in Common Data Service. So Common Data Service is actually part of the Power Apps. All of this speed does not compromise on the power. Power Apps is all about the strong enterprise governance and security, and has a bunch of professional developer hooks. Many users are already using Power Apps today unaware that they are using, so for example, for customizing SharePoint forms or Dynamics 365 applications. You can then easily integrate your Power Apps inside Dynamics 365 or Power BI, which will bring you a new dimension to the Power BI reports. We all know that Power BI is a tool for reporting and making decisions on top of the data, but then you can embed Power App inside the Power BI report and manipulate with data. So you will in one report see the data and manipulate with some data inside the source system. For Power Apps, we have three types of applications: Canvas, model-driven, and portals. Canvas allows extremely fine-grained UI using our Microsoft controls and expressions. So on far left we see one Canvas application which is fitted for tablet and mobile clients. And we see different controls, for example a new button, we see some list and filtering and so on. Model-driven applications allows you to quickly build applications using forms, views and dashboards with rich declarative tools for definition, business process flows and validation rules. So in the middle we see one model-driven application for products, for example, where we see forms and dashboards for these products. And last but not least, portals will allow external users scenarios, like customer self-service portal that require external or anonymous user. So now we know what is the Business Central, what is the Power Apps or Common Data Service, and we can see how we can integrate these two tools. So when we're speaking about integration of Dynamics 365 Business Central and Power Apps, what we will show you later in the demos is that we can easily edit the data from the Business Central with Power Apps. So we will edit data, we will create the new records in the tables and so on. We can also use one of the, I think, 250 connectors to connect our Dynamics 365 Business Central data with other applications. We can also use and give our users new experience. So often I was asked when to use Dynamics 365 mobile applications and when to use Dynamics Power App mobile application. Because Dynamics 365 Business Central mobile application is very useful and very nice application. Well, I would say that Power Apps is something which is built by end users, which have some domain knowledge and want to implement their process and speed up their process inside the organization. With Dynamics 365 Business Central, we have access to almost all solutions and all modules inside the Dynamics 365 Business Central. So to be able to connect Dynamics 365 Business Central and Power Apps, we will use built-in connectors. So we can connect it by them, which are unfortunately still in preview. And these connectors are available for on-premise and SaaS solutions. So we will have two different connectors. One is for on-premise and one is for SaaS solution. So to not speak too much about this, I suggest that we go to our first demo, which is out-of-the-box integration between Dynamics 365 Business Central and Power Apps. Okay. Okay, so here I am logged in to my Power Apps. So to my environment, and I am on my make.powerapps.com. Let's do this. And to connect to Business Central, I will go to Data, Connections, and I will click New Connection. Here I will see all the Microsoft connectors for all the services which are able to connect to Power Apps, but I will search for Dynamics. Business Central. So I will search for the Business Central, and here I will see my two connectors. Business Central on-premise for my on-premise integrations, and Business Central Preview for my SaaS solution. If you want to integrate your Business Central on-premise, you need to have now username password authentication on your premise solution, and then you will be able to connect your on-premise solution. But today I will speak about SaaS. Okay, as you can see, it is still in preview, as I said, but it is also a premium connector for the Business Central. I'll click Create Connection. and I will pick my account. And in a few seconds, connection between Dynamics 365 Business Central and the Power Apps will be established. Okay, to not wait this connection, to establish, I already did it on my sandbox environment, and now when I go to make.powerapps.com, inside the connections, I will see that I have Business Central connector already connected to my Power Apps. So this is the process which is done, and now I can easily build the applications on top of this connector. So to build application, I will go to application, new application, and I have these three models, types of the application: Canvas, model driven, and portal. To build a mobile application on top of the Dynamics 365 connector, I will click Canvas. And here I can start with the data, and if I click on this right arrow, I can choose my Dynamics 365 Business Central connection. And here it will load me all my datasets which are available inside my environment. So in a few seconds, I received all my environments, or all my environments, and all my companies inside these environments. If I take a look at the Business Central, I see that I'm using the sandbox. So here, and the company Kronos DE. And here I will choose the same. So sandbox Kronos DE. And here I will get the list of all APIs which are available to use and consume inside the Dynamics 365. Inside the Power Apps, which are based on Dynamics 365 Business Central data. So for example, we can use customers and click connect. In a few seconds, I will receive fully functional customer application, Power App application, which I can then use inside my mobile or on my tablet and so on. So if I take a look at my customers in the Business Central, I see that this is the list. So for example, I will try to, let's say, edit this customer, so I can edit, and here I can select. Or when I submit this change, it will automatically update the customer inside my Dynamics 365 Business Central. So this is some out-of-the-box application. You can always change this or build new application. So for example, if I say, show me this, this is the city, for example, I want to have here country, for example. It will show me the country, or I can say, instead of the title, here show me the name, display name, and instead of the subtitle, show me some other information for this customer. So let's say we can use website. If we have website on the customer, it will show here. Okay, so now this is the application which I made on top of the Business Central data. Very simple and very easy. Now I will save this application. So for example, customers list, and get some color, and I will save this. But in the list of environments and the list of connectors, you saw that we have some limited number of connections and the limited number of APIs which are available, standard available out of the box. To override this, you can always build your own custom connector inside Dynamics, inside the Power Apps based on Dynamics 365 Business Central data. To do that, I will close this one, and I will go here to Custom Connectors. And here you can see that I have one custom connector called Test Vehicles. What is this? So let's first dive inside the Business Central or Visual Studio Code. And I will open the Power App. So here I created one table where I will store the information about the vehicles. So this is my table, as you can see, and here I will store the information about my vehicles and about my data about my vehicles. I here also create one page where I will track all these vehicles, so the list of my vehicles, and I create one API page, so we have possibility to create API page on top of my vehicle table, and there I use OData key field system ID to receive the information about my vehicles. So this is unique identifier of each of the row inside the table. Okay, I put the fields inside this application. Now assign to here system ID, and here later I will use system ID to find my vehicles. And last but not least, I created the web service XML to publish these pages and be able to consume from the outside the world. Okay, so this is one first step. When I publish this extension, so this is Business Central extension, inside my sandbox, if I go to the web services, here I will have my web services. Okay, and to find vehicle list, I see that I have some information about the vehicles. Okay, this is the first step, and now to test this, I have the Postman. In the Postman, I can get the vehicle, update the vehicle, create new vehicles. So for example, if I try to run this command, I will get all my vehicles from the Business Central. And as you can see here, I have some variables. So let's take a look. So as you can see, this is URL for my custom connector. If I take a look at him, it had information about my environment name, about my database or sandbox. Is it sandbox or someone else? It has also information about my API publisher, or we can find this information here in the API. So API publisher and API group. So if you take a look at this URL, we see the API publisher and API group. Okay, and I will get my company ID. How I can find my company ID? So I can easily just go like this and find my company ID inside my environment, and here I will get all my vehicles. I can also use this, for example, system ID, and get only one vehicle. So let's try. So for example, this one. So I have this parameter vehicle ID, where I set up all these parameters. So here inside my collection, I have the edit, and here inside the variables. To be able to do this, you need to do the authorization. For these examples, I'm using the basic authentication with my admin user and with my password. And what is the password? Password is web service access key for this admin user. So when I go to Business Central, to the users, to my admin user, here I can find web service access key. If you don't see it, just click on this. Okay, I will not create a new one, and then you will be able to generate your web service access key. Okay, so this is the Postman. I can also use the update to update some of the vehicles. So let's see, we have the vehicle ID, and if we try to update in the body, let's say this will be this model. So I need to send what I will update inside the body. If I try to send, it will update automatically inside my Business Central. This one. If you go to vehicle list, you will see that it is updated. So it is used from the Postman. Now I can use this as a custom connector here inside my Power Apps. So I can edit. In the host, I need to enter API businesscentral.names.com base URL, and here in the base URL, I will enter all other information from my URL from the Postman. So if we take a look at base custom API, this is exactly the same. Okay. Security. Here you need to enter username and password, but not the values as you see here on the, but the name or labels for the username and password. In my case, I will have username and web service access key. In the definition, I created 3 actions: get customer, get vehicle, create vehicle, and update vehicles. In the request, I need to enter the information about the request, and in the response, I need to enter the information about the response. In the create, it's the same. So for example, we have here all the response, which is number of seats, vehicle, submodel, plate number, system ID, and so on. And this later I can now use inside my Power Apps. So if I go to my applications, I also already created one model-driven application. this is my model-driven application. It is not too pretty, I just want to show you how you can easily build the application. So here I created one vehicle gallery which contains vehicles items. And if I go to my home screen, so here on my home screen, inside my trigger on visible on my home screen, I see that I want to fetch this data set with test vehicles, which is the name of my connector. So when I go to custom connector, test vehicles, with method get and with my company ID. What is important that after that you enter the value, because you will not get the data if you don't have this dot value. If you take a look at the Postman, and when I click get vehicles, you see that because of this, then you will get the values of all the vehicles. And here I also create some button, which when I select do the same, just insert the data. And inside my gallery, on the items, I have vehicles as a data source. Let's now try this application. If I click on refresh, it will update, you see, my new data set. Okay, so this was the first step. The next step, what I can do is, for example, add some form. So I added and inserted one form, edit form, which contains some data cards, custom data card with information about system ID and vehicle submodel. So what I want to do here, when I select some of these vehicles, to fetch the data here in this form, and then to update this inside my Business Central. So for example, here you see that I have I'm getting the data, but on the update button, I'm updating the vehicles inside my company. I'm doing the I'm passing the vehicle ID because I need to know which vehicle I will update, and I will see that I will update the vehicle submodel inside my Dynamics 365 Business Central. So when I go to vehicle list, I will update this one. Okay. So let's now play again. And for example, when how I'm moving through my list, I see all how the form is populated. And for example, here I will enter demo, and then I will click update. Few seconds, you see that vehicle submodel will be updated inside my Dynamics 365 Business Central database. Okay, so this is the part with using the update trigger or update function. And then last but not least, what I want to show you is how you can create a new items. So I create new screen with new form, and in the new screen I have this button create, which will create vehicles inside the Dynamics 365 Business Central. Here I am also providing the information about the company, and I don't need to provide the information about vehicle ID because I'm creating a brand new. On the new button, I will just navigate to my new screen, and this is it. So let's try. Okay, plate number, so let's say 4, And when I click create, I will get Ford Mustang inside my database. Okay, so very simple application to demonstrate you how you can use custom connectors inside the Power Apps. So let's now continue to our presentation and speak about something about Common Data Service. Regardless of type of application, you have the option of using the Common Data Service. And Common Data Service, it is out-of-the-box database for your applications. It is fully managed, secure database that has Microsoft data from Dynamics 365, Office 365, and Azure pre-populated. It also supports the Common Data Model, which includes a well-defined schema for various industries or verticals, which is part of a broader open data initiative. CDS is just one option for your data when working with Power Apps. But it comes with an amazing set of features for managing security, applying business logic and rules without writing a code. When speaking about Common Data Service and Common Data Model, it is the way how and where your various Dynamics and Office products will integrate in a single system where all the data will be available. So here you will store your data in standard and custom entities. You can build Power Apps and workflows against this data. So you can also use some business rules and validation to perform some business processes. So to don't speak too much, let's go to out-of-the-box CTS integration. Okay, so now I will log into my environment, and here I can see my accounts from my entities. When I go to the Business Central, I have something called Assisted Setup, where I can easily set up Common Data Service connection for my company. Okay, when I set up the Common Data Service, I can easily create a new customer. And let's say it will be customer, and here inside the Navigate action group, I have Common Data Service action group, and you can see that I now can see synchronize or set a coupling between my customer table, customer card, and the accounts inside my Common Data Service. So I will click on Set Coupling. Here you can change and validate the field. You can change and set the coupling between existing customer, or in my case, I will select Create a New Coupling, and I click on OK. The synchronization has been scheduled, and now when I go to the account, to the data, all accounts, I will see that my webinar customer is here. So it is automatically added into account table inside the CDS. Okay. Now on top of this, I can build some of the model-driven canvas applications inside the Power Apps. Okay. So this is the first step. The second way how you can integrate your Dynamics 365 Business Central with the Common Data Service is by using OData connector. So when I'm here inside my entities, I can click Get Data, and I will click Get Data. And here I can use and consume all data to connect to my Dynamics 365 Business Central, because for now I don't have Dynamics 365 Business Central connector. So I will use all data, and where I will find the information about the all data connector is inside my web services, inside Dynamics 365 Business Central. So for example, I will use this vehicle API. I'll copy a link and I will paste this link here. I need to do the authorization with my admin account. I will click on next. Okay. Here I will see all my data from my Business Central in the Power Query, where I can manipulate with the data, and then I will click on the next. So for now I will leave it as it is. Now what I can do, I can load to this new entity, I can load to existing entity, or I don't want to load this data. So for example, I can select one of the existing entities and then load the data. If I choose to load the new data, I can select query name. So for example, so I can enter. But if I choose the load to an existing entity, I can find one of my predefined entities. So for example, which I created before, for example this one, and here I can then map the fields. So for example, here I will choose what is in my data source, so number of seats, plate number, system ID, vehicle model, and vehicle submodel. And I will click next. Here I can specify how the data will be refreshed, manually or automatically. And then, for example, if I select automatically, I can say every 1 minute, push the data from the Business Central and update it in my dataset inside the Common Data Service. And I will click Create. I've already done this, so I'll, in this case, click Cancel. And when I go to the entities, I can see my entity and the data inside it. Because I have a refresh rate of 1 minute, I see immediately, almost immediately, my data here inside the iTest Mozilla entity. And now on top of that, I can build Power App applications. So for example, I created one model-driven application. I'll click Edit. Okay. And here inside the sitemap, I create one vehicle group, area and group also, and in the vehicles I also enter the entity which I'm using for this Power App. Okay, and I return back to my designer. I can define the forms for my application, views, charts, and so on. But what is important that I can now play this application and see all my data inside the Power App model-driven application. Now what I can do, I can, for example, click here, I can edit these informations, or for example change, let's say this will be 10 seats, examples. Okay, now on top of that, I can build Power BI reports, use Power Automates to build some flows, and so on. this is what we show. Here inside the forms, when I'm in the designer, I can go and edit these forms to show the data which are only needed for me. So for example, here in my new form, I have this information about plate number, vehicles, model, and so on. Okay, this was an example of model-driven application based on the Common Data Service, and in Common Data Service we have the data from the Dynamics 365 Business Central. I'll close this. And for the last demo for today, what I want to show you is when I go to the customer, on the right side you can notice that I have Power App Factbox information, and that here I have something which is Power App embedded inside the Business Central. This application is one of the applications inside my app list. So when I go here, I can find this Power App application. And how I did this, I'll just leave it. How I did this is by using some JavaScripts and some development inside the Dynamics 365 Business Central. So I will open this project. What I created, first I created one control add-in where I specified all the components which I need for my Power App application, and also the sizes and so on, and my events and procedures which I'm using inside my application. Then I specify this start.json, and after that I use Power App JavaScript to create an iframe and to also create a function for embedding Power App. Here in the log Power App variable, I have my application ID. So this is my application ID. From my Power App application, where I can find this inside my Power App, and I go to three dots, details, I can see the web link, and I can see my application ID which I'm using inside my Business Central. So this is the same. Okay, and then I'm using this as a source for my Power App application. After that, I created one page part, card part for the Power App, where I calling my control add-in and the function embed Power App. So this is the first step, and the second step is to embed this Power App Factbox inside my Factbox part. So here I am adding this Power App Factbox and Power App page part. So Power App page part is now here inside my Factboxes, and when I compile this, I will have something like this. So this is my Power App application, which is usable as any other Power App application. So for example, if we go here and create new vendor, so let's say number will be generated automatically. For example, display name, Corp, phone number. If we have here, we don't have, for example, we'll say as an email, I'll put this. And when I submit this, I will get the Datum Corp inside the vendors. And now when I close this, and when I go to purchasing vendors, I will see my vendor inside the vendor list. So this is one way how, for example, you can create Power App for the customers. But this Power App will be based on the data from the CRM, let's say. And then you can connect and combine this data from the CRM inside the Power App and with the data from the ERP, which are related to the customer card. Let's return to presentation. So I show you how you can use out-of-the-box CDS integrations. There is a lot of materials on the line, online, how you can specify and how you can define this and set up this CDS integration. I show you how you can connect Dynamics 365 Business Central and CDS. So using the OData, you can easily get the data from your tables inside the Business Central. And I demonstrate you how you can embed Power Apps inside the Business Central on, for example, Factbox page. And this is all from me for today. I would like to thank you all for attention, and I hope that soon we will have possibility to meet in person and to discuss about various possibilities of Power App and Business Central integration. Thank you.